Today we're going to be talking about two different ways to write linear equations, and that's going to be point slope and standard form. The first one we're going to talk about is point slope formula, and the formula is going to be y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. What you're going to use for this is m is going to be your slope, and then you'll use a coordinate which will be x1 comma y1. So now let's try 2 together. For problem 1, it gives us a slope of 2 and a point of 3, 9. So we're going to write this down. It's going to be y minus y1, which is 9, equals our slope of m, which is 2, times x minus x1, which is 3. So this was m. You have x1, y1. Now, this is just going to be a simple equation. You're going to distribute, and you're going to solve for y. So you have y minus 9 equals 2 times x, which is 2x, and then 2 times negative 3. Don't forget that negative, so 2 times negative 3 is negative 6, or minus 6. Now, you want the y to be in the front by itself, so since it's a minus 9, you're going to add 9, and that's going to give you y equals 2x, and negative 6 plus a positive 9 is going to be a positive 3. So now, if they said, what is your y-intercept, you could say, oh, positive 3 or 0, 3 is going to be my y-intercept, and my slope is going to be 2, which you can look at the front and see that they already gave you that. So let's try the next one. We have y minus y1, remember x1, y1, so minus 5 equals your slope of 3/2 times x minus x1, which is 1. So let's distribute. Y minus 5 equals 3/2 times x. It's going to give you 3/2 x. And then you're going to take 3/2 times negative 1, which is going to give you 3/2 times negative 1, which should give you negative 3/2. So minus 3/2. Now we want to combine like terms, so plus 5, y equals 3/2 x. Negative 3/2 is a negative 1.5. So if you took that and you add a positive 5, you should get a positive 3.5. So our y-intercept is going to be 0, 3.5. And our slope is 3/2. I forgot the x there. So now I want you to try. Use that formula, plug in your points, and when you're done you can come back and we'll work through it together. So we're going to use our formula. So x1, y1, y minus 3 equals negative 2 times x minus 1. Y minus 3, we want to distribute. So 2 times x is negative 2x. Don't forget this negative. And now you're going to say negative 2 times negative 1. Remember, a negative times a negative is a positive. Is going to give you a positive 1. Now we need to move this 3, so plus 3, y equals negative 2x plus 4. So our y-intercept would be positive 4, or as a coordinate it would be 0, 4. Our slope is is negative 2 over 1. Let's try the next one. You have x1, y1. So you're going to have y minus 5 equals 2/3 times x minus 3. So we want to distribute 2/3 to x. So that's going to give you y minus 5 equals 2/3 x. And then you're going to say 2/3 times a negative 3 which is going to give you, they'll cancel out the 3, so that'll give you a negative 2 or a minus 2. Now we want to add 5 to both sides. Y equals 2/3 x plus 3. So y-intercept is positive 3 or 0, 3, and our slope is 2/3. Now we're going to look at standard form. The formula for standard form is ax plus by equals c. A, b, and c are going to be integers, and a cannot be negative. So let's look at this first one. We are going to use that formula we just used first. So y minus 2, let's write that a little better. Y minus 2 equals negative 4/5 of x minus 3. Now we want to distribute, so y minus 2 equals negative 4/5 x, and then negative 4/5 times negative 3 is going to be positive 12 over 5. So then once you're in this stage, what you want to do is you want to leave them as fractions, so improper fractions if you can, because when we move over to this ax plus by equals c, you cannot have any fractions. So we need to look and say, oh, our denominators are all 5, so we're going to multiply this side by 5 and this side by 5. So it becomes 5y minus 10 equals negative 4/5 times 5 is going to be negative 4x plus 12, because these are going to also cancel out. Now you can do some simplifying. So we are going to add 10 on each side. 5y equals negative 4x plus 22. And if you look, we want our x to be on the other side, so we're going to add 4x and add 4x to where our answer is now going to be 4x plus 5y equals 22. So let's try another one together. All right, let's try this one together. So let's plug it into our formula. We have y minus 3 equals 5 times x minus 4. And now we're going to distribute. So y minus 3 equals 5x minus 20. Now we can add 3 to each side. So y equals 5x. Negative 20 plus a positive 3 is going to be negative 17. And then we need to move x over, so we're going to minus 5x. So now we have negative 5x plus y equals negative 17. But if you remember in the beginning, we can never have a, which is connected to your x, be negative. So in order to get rid of that negative, we are going to divide everything by -1. So now it becomes -5 divided by -1 is going to give us 5x. Y divided by -1 is going to be a -y. And -17 divided by -1 is 17. So there is your standard form. 5x minus y equals 17. Now I want you to try this one on your own, and then come back and we can look at it together. So the first thing we want to do is we want to plug it into our formula. So y minus -3 equals -3/4 times x minus 5. So then we are going to distribute, so y minus a negative is going to be the same as saying plus 3 equals -3/4 x. And then -3/4 times -5 is going to give you plus 15/4. So now we need to look at our problem and see that they all have a 4 as a denominator and we can't have a fraction, so we are going to multiply this side by 4 and this side by 4. And that gives us 4y plus 12 equals -3/4 times 4 is -3x plus 15/4 times 4 is 15. Now we can combine like terms. Minus 12, 4y equals -3x plus 3. Then we can add 3x. And that gives you 3x plus 4y equals 3. Here are your 2 questions for your Google assessment. For number 1, you need to use the slope and the point to write an equation in point-slope form, and for number 2, use the slope and the point to write in standard form. Plug those in, and then I've asked a couple other questions saying, do you have any questions from the video, and how well do you feel like you understand from 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest? So make sure you bring this to class with you tomorrow.